Yo, what's up everybody? So good news, over the weekend there was two very large media outlets who did stories on the Animal Holocaust. One of them was the Daily Star, which have a following on Facebook alone with 1.8 million followers. And the other is one that you probably all heard of, which is Ladbible, which is one of the biggest pages on Facebook. They have tens of millions of followers and they did an excellent article on the Animal Holocaust. I want to reiterate the reason why this is getting attention right now and why these articles and people are interviewing me. It's because I'm calling it what it is. Holocaust is the worst word that we know, basically. It's one of the worst. Holocaust, rape, etc. It's one of the worst atrocities that we are all aware of that has ever happened. It really can't get any worse than that. It's the peak of wrong. And calling what happens to animals a Holocaust is perfectly accurate and powerful in the way that it makes people pay attention to it. Here is just some more evidence of that. So what I'm gonna do right now is go through the article and just talk about it and tell you what they said. I think it's an excellent article. They really did it justice because they didn't put my words out of context or anything like that. They put a lot of my quotes in there and I called it how I see it. So the title is Vegan Influencer Defends Comparing Eating Meat to the Holocaust, which isn't exactly what I did actually, but I'll explain that later. A vegan influencer who has been accused of comparing eating animals to the Holocaust has defended himself against the claims and doubled down on his argument in a new interview. James Aspey shared snaps of slaves in chains and Germany leader Adolf Hitler alongside photos of butchered animals with the caption, "The law should never dictate your morals." So that is actually all I was doing. And I don't think they realize that this is much bigger than me just sharing that one post showing 4 different atrocities, all of them which were legal at some point: slavery, the Holocaust in World War II, and what happens to animals. And basically, all I was saying was that law shouldn't dictate if we do the right thing or not. And history has shown that many, many times. Just because eating animals and slaughtering animals is legal everywhere doesn't mean that it's right, and it most definitely isn't right. All you need to do is use a little bit of logic. Okay, this caused angry social media users to accuse him of equating the killing of animals for food to the death of an estimated 6 million Jewish people at the hands of the German Nazi Party in World War II. So I just want to say on that, I'm not equating it. I'm just saying that's a Holocaust, and guess what? So is what happens to animals every single day. You could draw a lot of parallels in regards to who the victims are, in regards to the way that the victims were treated on both sides. All are sentient beings, all able to feel joy, pain, fear, suffering, terror, etc. And all intelligence and have a mind and can think. And in terms of numbers, 6 million, that's probably happened in terms of the Animal Holocaust since I even started this video. So in terms of numbers, it's totally unprecedented what's happening to the non-human earthlings that humans have enslaved en masse and slaughter en masse. Anyway, an unrepentant Aspey, which means a Aspey who does not regret what he has said, did not back down, however, and proceeded to use the inflammatory phrase Animal Holocaust, which I note that here they did not capitalize A in the animal and H in the Holocaust, which I always capitalize because it deserves to be capitalized. The largest Holocaust in history of Earth deserves to have capital letters. He told the Daily Star, "The Animal Holocaust was happening long before, during, and after the Holocaust and every other Holocaust in human history. We aren't lowering the status of the World War II Holocaust survivors to the status of animals, but rather we are elevating the status of non-human earthlings." He added, "I am hoping to draw attention to the reality that our culture is extremely sick. We pay for the torture, rape, and murder of non-human earthlings, which is all standard legal practice in the meat, dairy, and egg industry. Humans eat their corpses or secretions while calling themselves civilized animal lovers, and there is absolutely no need for it. I think they may have misquoted me a little bit here, because what I believe I said was humans eat the corpses and secretions of these Holocaust victims while calling themselves civilized animal lovers, and there's absolutely no need for it. But anyway, Aspie went on to extol the virtues of a vegan diet by saying, humans are likely to live longer, have less nutrient deficiencies, develop less deadly diseases, and dramatically lower our carbon footprint, all from consuming a vegan diet. Something that's always important, I believe, to talk about in these interviews is to get rid of the biggest misconception when coming to a vegan diet, and that is it healthy? Can I do this healthily? If not, I should just eat animals. That it isn't immoral to eat animals if I need to do it for health. So I always try to put something in these articles that this is perfectly healthy diet, if not healthier, and in fact it is much healthier, and you're likely to have much less diseases, etc., etc. I always find that very important to put into these articles. People need to take animal rights seriously. It is far from a joke. The Animal Holocaust is an atrocity. These types of terms make people think, and that is the first step required for people to take action and change their ways. Somewhat jarringly, he went on to make a direct plea to meat-eating survivors of the Holocaust and their families, saying, "There is another Holocaust happening right now, and if you are purchasing animal products, you are the reason it exists. Please, you know more than anyone how horrific it is for innocent humans to have their lives and families destroyed. The animals suffer just the same. I desperately encourage you to join the right side of history by going vegan and educate those around you as to why they should do the same." Aspie, who took a year-long vow of silence to promote veganism in 2015, it was actually 2014, signed off by explaining what else he does to spread the word of veganism, and also repeated his belief he was right to use the word Holocaust in his post. He said, "I have given 300 to 400 free speeches on animal rights. I share vegan food recipes, health info, and everything I can think of. The fact is, there is nothing wrong with calling a Holocaust a Holocaust. We shouldn't use language that makes the oppressors feel comfortable. We should be thinking about the victims." The influencer also attacked comedian Russell Brand in a separate post, accusing him of endorsing ethical meat eating. He said, "You should be calling out this sick mentality in our culture, not telling them it's okay to consume the flesh of Holocaust victims." So why I said that to Russell Brand is because in a video he made recently talking about the vegan teacher, I think they're called, on TikTok, he said that eating meat isn't necessarily unethical. I feel like we should just keep it at an arm's length. This is not the right message to put out there. You're basically giving a green light to people who can use the excuse, yeah, it's just a personal choice. You're right, Russell, you've got your personal choice, I've got mine. And that is what I believe he is implying. And I think that's very wrong for a vegan to do. Veganism is an ethical stance against violence towards other earthlings. It's an ethical stance against the exploitation and slaughter of innocent beings. Why would a vegan say, yeah, is it ethical? It's not always unethical. And yeah, in a culture where everyone is already doing this, you need to be way more clear about if it's ethical or not, and in what situations it may or may not be. So if you're stranded on a desert island and you need to eat an animal to survive, okay, it's excusable. If you can easily thrive on a vegan diet because you have an abundance of those nutrients available to you from plants that you need at your supermarket, you should never be saying, yeah, maybe it's ethical, maybe it's not. Just sort of keep it at an arm's length, I think is best. Totally wrong. We should be saying, this is unethical, you're funding a Holocaust, it needs to end now. Stop buying animal products, boycott these industries so that we can bring their suffering to an end. It's gone on for far too long. It's that simple. Another person that I had to call out recently is Dr. Garth Davis. First of all, he called me out for using the term Holocaust and saying, I don't think it's effective, etc., etc. I'm literally showing proof of why it's effective. It's getting in the largest media publications on earth, including Ladbible right now, with a very unbiased article talking about it. That is what needs to happen. It happens because we use the correct terminology. And if we don't, People don't take it seriously. People laugh at vegans. People think animal rights is a joke, and they don't understand because even activists don't call it what it is. And that is something I think we need to change. So he said that to me. We went and had a little back and forth, and I was just saying, I think, because he said it is a Holocaust, but we shouldn't say it's a Holocaust. I just totally disagree. I think there's no logic behind that. Now, after that, I saw a screenshot of his, someone sent to me. He said, how do you feel about wild hunted game? Would you consider eating, say, venison if the deer had lived a long, happy life in the wild and was killed quickly with a single shot? To me, that's very different from factory farming, not to mention the meat is healthier. Dr. Garth Davis responded saying, very different. I don't want it or need it, but if that is the only meat you eat, then fine. How is that fine? Is it fine for the victim who got hunted and murdered? Obviously not, which is who you should be thinking about when you respond to these people. By you, doctor, saying that it is fine for hunters to go and murder, what do you think they're gonna do? Ah, sweet. A vegan told me it's fine, let's roll. Let's go hunting. Yeah, I don't support factory farming. I just hunt, and that's fine with vegans. No, it's not. Just because this plant-based doctor has told you that murdering animals is fine as long as you don't support factory farming, that doesn't mean anything. He's completely wrong. He should change his views on that if he wants to call himself a vegan, because vegans don't support the needless murder of innocent beings, right? It's so simple. I don't know why it's confusing. It's obvious. Anyway, that's basically what's been happening over the last couple of days. I wanted to share that with you. I want us, as a movement, to take this more seriously. I want the activists in this movement to speak up for the animals how they deserve. And I am guilty of not doing that myself over the years. They deserve these terms used consistently, not sparingly, all the time. We should be talking about the animal holocaust. We should be getting in people's faces all the time, making them think about it, making people choose. They're forced. We need to force them to choose a side. Do you support it or not? Are you vegan or are you non-vegan? You either support the animal holocaust or you don't. And I think that if we use these terms, we'll have a much faster progress because more people will realize how serious it is. Right now they don't. Let's change that. Let's get united in speaking up for the animals the way they deserve. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching my video. See you in the next one. Peace.